Is the Canon M50 still worth buying in 2021? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. What's going on, guys? This is Andre here with Camera Review Pro, and in this video, we're gonna be taking a look at the Canon M50. Now, this camera has been out for a little while, but it's still really popular to this day. So in this video, we're gonna be taking a look at the camera and going over everything you need to know about it to help you decide if it'll still provide value for you in 2021. Now, before we go any further, I do wanna remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. But with that being said, let's get into the video. Now, this camera has a 3-inch swivel LCD display that looks really nice and is easy to see. I like that it flips out like this because if you're doing something like vlogging where you need to see yourself, it makes it really easy for you to see what you're doing. The other nice thing about this display is that it's actually a touchscreen. Having a touchscreen display makes navigating through menus and stuff like that so much easier, and when you're using something like the autofocus function, it makes that so much easier as well. Overall, I feel like having a touchscreen display on a camera these days is almost a requirement. I personally wouldn't want to use a camera that doesn't have one. And seeing that this camera is a few years old, it's nice to see that it does in fact have a touchscreen. Now, this camera has a maximum video recording quality of 4K at 24 frames per second. In my opinion, this really isn't the best because with such a low frame rate, shooting stuff like slow motion videos isn't going to work out very well. And overall, the quality just really isn't the best, especially for 4K. In addition to this, when you're shooting in 4K with this camera, it crops it in a little bit at a 1.7x zoom. So if you're trying to do something like vlogging, where you want the frame to be wide enough to capture the subject and the background, this is really inconvenient and not ideal at all. Now, it doesn't do this in 1080p, but if you do want to shoot videos in 4K, I do think you can definitely do better. Now, if you want to shoot more high quality videos, like talking head YouTube videos, vlogs, that sort of thing, one thing that's really important for that type of activity is audio. And really, there are very few cameras, especially a camera in this price range of this age, that have good built-in mics. And that includes this camera. The built-in mic on this camera really isn't very good. So if you're shooting a vlog or a YouTube video or something like that, you're not going to get very good audio quality with the camera by itself. But that being said, one really cool thing about this camera that a lot of other entry-level cameras and older cameras in general don't have that this one does is an external audio input. As you can see right here, there is an input for an external mic. So if you are shooting a YouTube video, doing a vlog, something like that, you can plug in an external microphone like a shotgun mic that you can easily mount to the top of the camera right here. And this is going to greatly improve your audio quality. In addition to this, with some cameras, even if you can connect an external mic, you may not get a ton of control over how that mic performs on the camera, so it might end up being really distorted or something like that. But with this camera, you can actually customize the input level of the mic. So if you have a mic that's really sensitive, or maybe the opposite, one that's not very sensitive, you can adjust the input level on the camera itself to reflect this, and as a result, get better quality audio. Real quick, in case you're wondering, in order to manually control the audio on this camera, you're gonna go to the menu, go to the shooting menu, and make sure sound recording is manual. If you wanna change the level, select this one more time. And now you can change the recording level to increase it or decrease it. This is really important when you're using an external mic because every mic is going to be a little bit different, and depending on the one you have, you might need to increase the recording level if it's not loud enough, or decrease it to prevent it from getting distorted. Probably one of my favorite things about this camera is the autofocus. There's some cameras out there that have autofocus, but it might not be very good. And there are also some cameras in this price range that don't even have autofocus at all. But with this camera, it not only has autofocus, but it has really good autofocus that's great at tracking your subject and can even track faces as well. This is really important for lots of different type of videos, whether it's a vlog or just a regular YouTube video, a tutorial, even talking head videos. Autofocus makes everything so much easier, especially if you're shooting a video that has lots of motion. With this camera, you can even change the mode of the autofocus by going to the menu. And in the 4th page, we have what's called the autofocus method. Here you can control the tracking, and as you can see, right now the face tracking is on, but you also have several other different modes to choose from depending on the type of video you're shooting. With the kit lens on this camera, you get 3x manual zoom, which honestly isn't really the best. If you're trying to take more long distance shots like nature shots or something like that, it might be a little bit disappointing because the zoom on the kit lens of this camera isn't very powerful. Now of course you can get other lenses, but strictly just considering what the camera typically has when you buy it, if having really powerful zoom is important to you, you can definitely do better. Now that being said, this camera does have a powerful 24.1 megapixel sensor that captures really good colors and overall takes really high quality photos. So if you're using the camera for more normal activities, like everyday photography and that sort of thing, then it should work out for you really well. Now, one other thing I really don't care for about this camera is the battery life. It's not really the worst out there, but compared to other cameras that last for days, and even smartphones, this camera doesn't have the best battery life. And if you're doing a lot of photography or working on a video project like a vlog that takes a long time, then having your batteries die and having to deal with switching them out can be really annoying and inconvenient. But that being said, this isn't a smartphone. The batteries are really easy to change. So the simple solution to this is just to have multiple batteries and you can just switch them out as they die. So it's not a huge deal, but compared to other cameras that have really long battery life and can shoot videos for hours on end without draining too much, the batteries on this camera are a little bit disappointing in comparison. So in conclusion, is the Canon M50 still a good camera to buy in 2021? I personally think it absolutely is. This goes especially for beginners. If you're really just getting into photography, videography, vlogging, all that stuff, this is going to be a great camera for you because despite not having the top of the line features or the best lenses or the ability to shoot super high quality 4K videos, this camera is extremely easy to use with really customizable options and great reliability as well. So if you're using the camera for more basic activities like vlogging, talking head YouTube videos, stuff like that, or daily photography, where you don't need a really powerful zoom or something like that, this camera is going to get the job done really well. And honestly, in today's market, it is really a bargain. But if you want to get into more advanced things like music videos, more cinematic movies, or if you want really high quality 4K, then you might want to look at a different device. Because this camera, while it can still shoot 4K and do a little bit of that kind of thing, really isn't meant for those high-end activities because the 4K, again, does have a limit at 24 frames per second. And with the general quality of 4K videos on this camera, there's really only so much you can do with it. So if you do want to shoot those really high quality cinematic videos for a music video or a short film or something like that, then you're probably going to want to find a camera that has more high-end features and better 4K options. But overall, I do think this camera is great for beginners and really good for stuff like vlogging, YouTube videos, and everyday photography. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you found this information useful as well. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.